Movie dopers. I am Brian,
And I'm Brad.
and I have drank 540 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm still yawning. So I should have drank more.
Go shoot for 1100.
I'm not kidding. I have three sugar-free Rockstar Pure Zero, 180 milligrams, and I have crushed them all. And it's only 7:14 p.m. And my last one was at 4 o'clock. And I'm
Oh, don't do that.
that wasn't planned. That was a really on.
Yeah, don't do that.
I
You're gonna kill
have
me.
I have issues. I gotta go to the doctor and see if I have a tapeworm or something.
I wish that was my problem.
um yeah, but today we've got a foreign film, at least from an American audience standpoint. Foreign films, just like accents, are all dependent on your point of view. But, sir, would you like to say what this foreign film is that everyone's already seen the title of
Sure.
and give a quick summary?
Sure. It's about three idiots and a girl.
He both gave a summary and gave the title.
Boom.
Yeah, to sum it up quickly, it's about three lifelong friends who met.
Kind of.
Three friends who met in college. Essentially, I don't know the proper term for what schooling they're at.
University.
They've made a lifelong bond. They can feel it in their bones. And then as soon as they graduate, one of them ghosted the other two. And it's a tale of their time at university and the search for the third. I'm trying to combine the word amigo and idiot. And I didn't think of something quick enough. So I decided to explain the joke I could have made instead of actually making it. But I mean, this is one I've seen before. So I highly recommend it. Gave me a lot of non-toxic male tears, as in tears brought on by the absolute non-toxicity of these brothers from other mothers loving each other like brothers do.
That was gonna be one of my questions: was how many times you cried during this movie?
I'm pretty sure 4 or 5. I don't know.
I was gonna say at least two or three. I was like, yep. Brian cried here. Brian cried here.
Anyone who wants to see me cry, my full-length video commentary is already on Patreon. If you want to go over there, there's 3 patrons at the moment, and see me cry. But yeah, especially on rewatches, cries are. I know I've been crying a lot at the movies we've been watching, and a lot of them have been rewatch cries. But under normal circumstances, it's very hard to make me cry, especially sober. And then it's even harder to make me cry, usually on a rewatch. It probably benefited that there was like 4 years separated between my rewatches. But yeah, sir, what do you think? What's your non-spoiler review?
Yeah, I would say that you wrapped it up pretty well. It's a movie that realistically takes place in about 12-ish, 12 to 16 hours, but you see everything going back through their lives in college. So it's kind of cool. It's a lot of twists and turns. I forgot that we were watching an Indian film, and so I was a little surprised when I got to the first musical part. But then I was like, "Oh, yep, that's right." That a lot of Indian films use music for entertainment, and when there's no music involved or in a movie, it's more like an art film.
Was the first one All Is Well?
I believe
it's technically not a spoiler because no one who hasn't seen it knows what the hell we're talking. Besides that, it might be a sequence, a song sequence.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think All Is Well is the first one.
Okay, so this movie,
I think there was only 2 or 3.
So this movie does what you wish La La Land had done. and waited for its first song to happen.
Yeah, and not out of the gate. Just completely like for absolutely no reason stuck on a highway.
I mean, hey, I'm always a fan of getting people situated or knowing what the movie is going to be in the first sequence.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
Bond films have their action sequences and
yeah, they're cold opens.
yeah. So I just consider that the La La Land cold open. But this one, anything non-spoilery to say about this movie?
No.
All right. Mine
Okay. There
okay.
is one thing I want to mention before we get too far.
Mm-hmm.
That this movie does have a trigger warning kind of attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go out and say it just in case you don't want to watch a movie that deals with a little bit of
suicidal thoughts, if you ever if that's something that does trigger you, that's a good call. I wouldn't have thought of that. But yeah, if you have suicidal thoughts and watching people, like if you avoided 13 Reasons Why,
then you should probably avoid this one.
Yeah, for that reason. Yeah, good call. My non-spoiler review is this movie can go from the lightest of lightest moments to the darkest of darkest moments, but not feel strange doing so. You know how some things can try to tackle different or attempt different vibes, and you're just like, no,
Yeah, you kind of missed on that. But this one doesn't. This movie does it really well.
Yeah, and if you're comfortable with that, I'd recommend it. And also, if you've watched all, was it 25, 26 Marvel movies so far and been frustrated that only two men in the entire franchise each cried a singular tear. And by that, I mean, Star-Lord at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 when he sees his mom and he says, "Mom," and there's a single tear. And then T'Challa when he takes the purple herb and he says, "You were wrong," and he cries.
Did Robert Downey Jr. cry toward at the end of it?
I don't think so. I think I guess okay, so there's some implied crying with Peter Parker in the first one when he loses the Stark internship, and then I think in Infinity War or Endgame he kind of cries.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we actually see the tears. If basically what I'm saying is, if you watched over 70 hours of Marvel content and you're like, God dang it, there's not enough emotionally mature, emotionally open, and healthy men in this, and you wanna make up for all that lack of healthy manliness. You just want
to I see where you're going with this.
You just want to get just so many men being able to be emotional and vulnerable with each other and not be judged, and if anything it only strengthens their bonds. Go here. Or if you want to just get like your really insecure male what is it, life partner, to show him that it's okay for him to start opening up and be a man in 2021. Watch this one. This came out in 2009, by the way. So
yeah, I was surprised when I saw that.
But it's it's something so rare to see in American media, a man crying and it either not being made as a punchline or not being ridiculed by everyone around him,
or not have just won the world championship in whatever sport that they play in.
not used as like the third act finale, like, oh, see how much he struggled, he deserves it, one manly tear. If you've watched all the Fast and Furious movies.
And you were
And
disappointed that Vin Diesel did not shed a tear.
yeah, the closest he ever got was probably screaming, "So I got no choice," on a plane in a movie that might have an 8 in it. Um, this is the movie for you. Highly recommend it. If you watch all of Ted Lasso, you're like, oh, my emotions are laid bare for the world now. You want to continue that train? Go over to Three Idiots.
Which will make you laugh and cry.
Mm.
There's some funny parts.
But yeah, with that, let's get to our ratings, sir. What's your rating?
I'm gonna go because I had to think about this quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go joint but skunky.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
It
I
turns
I, I,
the knife.
I would say it's really good. And then there's some parts where I was like, okay. Like I understand why it's here, but like some of the like fast and slow parts of this movie just got me. Some
All
parts go really
right.
fast and some parts just seem like they drag forever.
Okay.
And the amount of twists and turns in this movie.
I'm gonna go in the complete opposite and say an edibly mushroom. I thought it
Okay.
was like for context, edible is a B, but like this ranking system I consider to be harsh, you know? Like an A is like that shit's rare. Which makes the ayahuasca tier even more rare. So this is a really good rating in my book. In edibly mushroom because I think it's a B plus. Uh,
And I gave
yeah.
it basically like a average to average minus. So
Ooh,
I would C. I don't want to say C because that's got bad connotations. I would say like
it's
average to average minus.
so below average for you. It's got
Yeah,
too
well,
much
but like
fat. Are you saying like if you
yeah,
cut out half an hour, you would like it more?
yeah, brought it down from 2 hours, 45 minutes closer to 2 hours.
All right. Well, let's jump into spoilers.
Wah, wah, wah.
You haven't seen it, get the fuck out and then figure out if you think it's great or you think it has room for improvement. Um, yeah, sir. What was the most striking dragging part? What's the first thing you'd cut out on the
There was a lot of
chopping
like
block?
there was a lot of like unnecessary, just like lingering too long for some scenes. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head. Probably when they were drunk, and they go into Pia's room, and they run into her sister, and like that bit kind of played out too long. You probably cut out a minute or two out of there. There's just little snippets. You probably just could have ended some things or refined some. Just make cut a couple minutes here and there. I think would have made a huge difference. I think there's some parts that just like drug on. They were trying to make a joke and it just like dug too long.
Like the joke wasn't hitting you
No,
and then it felt long.
or the joke hit me and then they kept going with it and you're like, okay, let's move on.
Okay. Is I'm wondering, I'm just thinking to myself, I wonder if it's because we're so used to 90-minute movies, like where everything needs to the rule in American screenwriting is enter the scene late and end the scene early. So I don't know. I'm just
I mean,
curious.
overall, I would say it was a good movie. Overall,
Yeah.
it was a movie that I would recommend to somebody who's like, hey, I want to watch foreign films. I want to start getting into foreign films, and they're like, oh, I kind of like the Indian culture. I was like, oh yeah, I would say yeah, this is a good movie. There's also some other foreign films off the top of my head, Pan's Labyrinth. I would
Mm.
probably recommend stuff like that. So it would definitely be up there in the recommended, but I think they could have trimmed it a little bit and brought it closer to 2 hours.
Yeah, and Guillermo del Toro is a lot closer, I imagine, to American filmmakers than any Indian director.
Yeah.
Like any Indian director that was brought up making films in the Indian film scene, there's like 5 different ones, Hollywood, Tollywood, things like that. So would definitely be more prone to longer films, since that seems to be the what is it, the industry standard. um
Yeah, but I would say, I mean, overall, the way it sits right now, it's a fine movie. I would
did
recommend it. I would have no problems with it. I just to think to in my head to make it just a little bit better, I would say we could trim a little bit of it.
Fair enough. Did you watch it with your paramour?
I did not
Ah,
because I
uh,
watched it. I watched it, or she was gone this weekend, and I watched it late. So I
sure.
like finished it, ate dinner, and then now I'm here.
So the moments that you said like Brian would cry at that, did you get any emotional reactions? And what were the moments that you were guessing I'd cry at?
Um, I'm trying to remember. There's one towards the end. Um,
When Silencer gets electrocuted by the kids.
that was pretty. That was hilarious.
Oh,
That was like laugh funny
tear jerker.
because it just pulls you back to the beginning of the movie. No, it had to. The one thing that had to do with Peta or Pia. Um, yeah, it was probably.
When she's feeling pressured to stay at the wedding when she wants to leave.
Yeah, probably. That was probably one. There was another one too. Oh, the birthing scene. Um,
Oh,
I can see that could have been a trigger warning too, but I mean, it turns out good in the end. But
I can't remember if I cried during that. The one I know I cried, and I'll probably always cry, is after they bring the father on the scooter, which is kind of played for
oh
laughs a bit, and
yeah,
definitely later. But
because he's like strapped to his back.
mhm. And then Raju shows up. Raj shows up, and he's like, "What were you doing? Like, you really brought my dad on a scooter. You're so like totally valid. Like
Yeah,
as a knee jerk reaction, he's betting it's a safe bet for him to be ripping a new one into Rancho in those circumstances. But as soon as the doctor passes, which is it's very movie, it's very convenient. But anyway, he's like, if you had waited any longer, he would be dead right now. And then just to see Raj,
it click. Everything like makes sense. Like, oh, you did the exact right thing,
yeah,
and along with the baby scene up towards the end too.
and
I mean,
and you just see it in his eyes, like all his the bit of regret for ripping into Rancho at that point, and then all his all the nerves that had been building up to that moment of like concern for his father's safety just release, and like his a little bit of guilt and just so much love for his bro.
yeah.
Whew, whew. I watched this 3 weeks ago, and I'm like feeling like I'm gonna tear up a little bit.
Another, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, another one of the parts that they probably could have trimmed a little bit is when you find out that Rancho's real name isn't Rancho, and they're playing with the ashes. That could have probably been trimmed up a little bit too. I mean, they dangle those ashes for quite a while, watch them load a gun and everything, and then he even tells them like it's empty.
It's like, what? Well, empty it.
So I mean, they probably could have trimmed that up a little bit, or like made it a little bit more subtle than straight up saying it's empty.
Yeah, touche. Um, it is kind of crazy how they just stuck a Scooby Doo chase scene in the middle,
Yeah,
and that wasn't the
or no,
criticism.
yeah,
It was like nothing wrong with the Scooby Doo, just
I
a
like
little
Scooby Doo.
less, just a little
Yeah,
less.
a little less. I mean, the chase wasn't very long, which is good. So I'm
Yeah.
okay with the chase only being like around two corners and into the bathroom. I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
But yeah, just how long they dangled the wrong urn over the toilet for however long was probably just a little too long for me.
Did you like how they calmly just sat down next to the toilet
Yeah.
as a little triangle between them? It's like, now I put down the gun, and now I've crossed my legs, and now I will tell you the story.
Yep. And then the one guy has the gun. Once you get to the end of the story, by the end of the story, he has the gun. The other guy has the gun. Farhan or had the gun by the end of it.
Oh yeah. Um.
That was. I mean, this movie has a lot of twists and turns through it. I think one of the first ones is finding out that the love interest Pia is her dad is their most hated like professor,
Is
or
the
I guess
yeah.
he's like a dean really, because he
He's
like
the head
controls
of
the
the
camp.
school.
Yeah, he's like like the dean, university president.
It's so weird. The IMDb isn't being very helpful in terms of his name. That's so weird that he's not on the main page for IMDb.
Do you want the actor's name or do you want the character name?
Character name.
Viru, and then his last name is Sasha Sa Sasabuya Budihi.
Oh wow, that okay.
It's
Never
super
mind.
long.
Never mind. That picture is just
Really bad.
no, really old.
Oh,
Like he must have been 20 years younger in the picture that he's got.
wait, time out. Does he have a mustache?
He does not have a mustache. He has no gray
Ooh.
hairs. He looks like he's in a TV procedural about a CSI India,
Oh,
um, which I know couldn't exist, but the television channel that produces CSI, I
does
wouldn't be
not care.
shocked. I would not be shocked if CSI India came out.
Yeah. Bowman Irani.
Yes, my bad.
Yeah. So
Uh,
he's kind of like the main antagonist of this whole thing. So having him be his love interest, dad is a kind of a turn.
yeah.
Um, the finding out that Rancho's real name isn't Rancho is a turn. Finding out why he did it was a turn. The ending scene of him just bouncing, like getting into a taxi and just heading out, a little bit of a turn. Finding out that his real name was actually the doctor Wagyu or whatever
Oh
for or the
yeah.
scientist Wagyu at the very, very end. There's another turn. There's just a lot of twists and turns. I mean, they were fine. I didn't have a problem with any of them, but just a
Yeah.
lot of twists and turns throughout this movie.
Yeah. Every twist tied directly with Rancho in terms of like his secret identity, him be having the record for number of patents held, uh, things like that. That all made sense because it's all one
Yeah,
twist. There's
it's
just
it's one snake.
extra details. Yeah. It's like I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's one storyline. It's just the twists and turns inside that storyline.
Yeah.
You're not getting random twists by random off. You
Yeah.
know, like Millimeter is not like some secret spy agent who's sent to kill everybody. Like you, that's not that kind of
Yeah.
twist.
We don't find out that 5 years after university, Rancho got superpowers.
Yeah.
Complete by alien rock, not by one of his experiments, you know. Um, but
But yeah, yeah. I mean, it was interesting. It was for sure interesting. The way that they tell stories and the way that it was subtitled was kind of interesting. Um, because some of it's I would say 15 to 20% of it's in English.
oh
And
yeah,
even
yeah.
and even with the English subtitles when they speak English, I mean it's not right.
Oh yeah, it doesn't match the subtitles.
It doesn't match the subtitles even though it's in English.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, I liked I think one of my favorite continued bits is the mint sauce.
Yes. Yeah. All the way they use it all the way through to the end.
Yeah, they and variations of that, like losing the that fancy watch.
Mhm.
But you know, even Pia even uses it to catch them with her dad or expose them for crashing the wedding. It's like, oh, can you explain it to my father because he's very stubborn sometimes. Like, oh yes, where's the mint sauce? So here, sir.
Mint sauce goes good with everything.
Yeah.
And then yeah, because I think that's what he says when he's fixing her soon-to-be husband's wedding outfit. He puts
Oh
the mint
yeah.
sauce, puts mint sauce on the outfit. He's like, "What were you thinking?" He's like, "Mint sauce goes on everything."
Or my $5,000 suit or whatever currency it actually was that she hears it from the other room, I think.
Yeah, because
Um,
that was like his big thing is, and Rancho was right the whole way. Rancho was rarely wrong this movie, if at all. I don't think they ever kind of proved
um,
him wrong. He may have did
the
wrong things for the right reasons.
the one time I can remember him being proven wrong was the pencil in space.
Yeah, that's a weak argument.
I mean, I know that the Russians used a pencil in space, but I mean that shit's it's such a delicate balance to keep everyone fed or at least hydrated in a space station with recycling their urine and shit.
Hmm.
I could imagine
And Martian potatoes. Yep.
I could imagine having gunk going through the into the systems could actually fuck something up. So I believe like it makes logical sense as counter argument. Also, the fact that it took him years to like figure it out,
Yeah.
or
4 years because it was at the end of his term there.
yeah, or maybe he like Googled it that night, but he didn't want to go back and be like, actually, because he feel like it was weakness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But uh, I believe it. I believe that that's why they did it. Spent the U.S. spent millions of dollars to make sure that they didn't have to worry about that.
It was a
Um,
lot of money too because I've been told this before in school. That was kind of like one of the things. I want to say they spent like $70 million or something like that to invent the pen. It was something ridiculously dumb.
I'm looking up how much did it cost to invent a pen that could write
NASA,
in space.
yeah, NASA pen.
Uh, wait. Uh, and pencils are flammable. This is what the first result is telling me. So, a quality NASA wanted to avoid in onboard objects after the Apollo 1 fire. So, there's another reason why to not bring pencils. Paul C. Fisher and his company, the Fisher Pen Company, reportedly invested $1 million to create what is now commonly known as the space pen.
What
Um,
year? What year was that?
I don't know.
We'll say 69 because I think that was when we first went to the moon.
Oh, I thought that was just a joke.
Oh, no, 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 no. My jokes are little kiddish, but not that little kiddish.
And
Teenagery.
then there's another result that said no, NASA did not spend over 165 millions on a space pen. So, and then what? All right, the internet's just messed up because PolitiFact proved that it was false, and then literally right below it is a Reuters article. Oh wait, never mind.
Yep, okay.
Okay, so just to get explain myself, the blue part I'll read second, but the part that looks like it's the article says to combat this problem, Congress approved a program and NASA scientists spent a decade and over $165 million developing a pen that writes in zero dot dot dot. And it said May 3rd, 2021. So I was like, wow, they're really still telling people false shit. And then the title was fact check. NASA did not spend billions on space pen.
So even if they spent $1 million, and we'll say it was in 1969, that would be $7.5 million today with inflation. So you spent in our head $7.5 million to write for a pen that can write in space.
Hey, it's a lot less than they're spending on most things these days.
Oh yeah. Well, that's because government contracts. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah. But
But
yeah,
I mean, it was cool. So the whole pen thing starts in the beginning, follows through all the way through the end, even to the point where he says he's never given this pen to anyone. Are you going to be the first one? Everybody's supposed to raise their hands. Like, yeah, I'm going to be the first one. And then to have Rancho be the first one to receive his pen, holds it all the way through the end of the movie, which is at that time 15, 20 minutes of the movie time.
Yeah.
To gives it to sign his name, and then we find out that his real name was Wagyu, scientist Wagyu or whatever.
Yeah, does this credit show the full name? No, it does not. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I'm selling this movie short. I'm not doing a good. I mean, this is the spoiler section, so anyone here hopefully has already seen the movie, but it even played with different filming techniques. Like when they went to Raj's parents' house, it's all in black and white.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like it was like coming out of a 1960s movie.
Yeah.
At first I was like, wait, is this Willy Wonka? Is this where we're going at here? You got the dad in bed, you got the older women around him. I was like, is this like Willy Wonka?
Yeah, that made sense. I'm remembering that because I'm looking at the mom's picture on IMDb. But yeah, and then she used it to scratch the father's itches.
Oh my god! And then roll like the bread or flour out, just like no.
Ooh, I remembered another part that made me cry.
All is well.
No, well, that may have made me cry later.
We'll talk about that second because that's interesting.
But no, when Farhan told his dad that he wanted to be a wildlife photographer, and the dad had gotten him the laptop.
And then comes to grip and is like, hey, can we trade this in for a high-end camera? Yeah. If you need more money, just let me know.
And that's a scene I would fight you over if you said to cut it down, because
I wouldn't cut that, because that was all very straightforward.
And also the room that it gave to breathe just added a tension of like, oh no, before they revealed that he had, gotten on board with his son.
Mm-hmm.
Just that I really like, I don't know if I would have been okay with it extending it another 30 seconds, but I like when those moments are too long.
Like the baby.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
That baby sequence was super long.
Because it's just adding tension. It's like was it Zach Braff directed the second episode of Ted Lasso when Ted is holding the door open for Rebecca to come through.
Yeah, she was like, that was way too long.
Yeah, Zach Braff wished that he could have had a shot of Rebecca walking down, but the set they had actually wouldn't have allowed that because they built that, or there wasn't actually a hallway. And then he was like, okay, so how long should I hold this? They're like, just hold the shot on Ted. Don't cut away. He wanted to keep cutting between Ted and Rebecca.
It's probably 5 to 10 seconds of us just standing there watching him hold this door.
Yeah, they literally told him, hold it for too long. Where that worked for a one-off joke. Yeah, just those moments of tension, just finding a way to extend them just a little longer, just ramps it up exponentially for me. I'm sure there's a point where you'd be like, okay, we've been here for 5 minutes. Is the dad ever gonna say something?
Yeah.
But
I think it held it the right amount of time. I think the baby thing, they held it at the right enough time for that suspense.
And that was so dramatic.
And then the panning back and forth between everybody. The mom, her sister that was over the webcam, panning to the other people. And then of course he says all is well, and all of a sudden gets kicked in the face. And it was like, oh, come on.
I love that. That was so corny because you clearly just know based on how it was framed that he just like flicked his thumb up.
Yeah, flicked it and it kicked him in the face.
And I gotta say, like, Amir Khan, who plays Rancho, is like one of the premier talents in India. If you ever want to know if Pirates of the Caribbean could work without Johnny Depp, look up a movie called Thugs of Hindustan. He basically plays a Jack Sparrow-esque character, and it works so well. And it clearly, like, they took a lot of inspiration from the first Pirates movie. Not completely, but like 30% of it is like just Pirates of the Caribbean thrown into the blender. And that's all to say, like, I can't imagine how challenging it could be for some actors or actresses to be both the person prompting something to happen and then acting like they're surprised it happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would be like if I needed to slap my own face. You're gonna get me to slap my own face or be shocked that I slap my own face.
Not both.
You're not getting a good performance on both ends from me. um yeah, just small moments like that. Uh this was a big one when I used to do scene reactions and trailer reactions, but what did you think of Silencer's speech?
Which one?
The one where he didn't understand anything what he was saying, and Rancho
Oh, when
replaced a word
yeah,
again and again.
he replaced a couple different words. Because he replaced one,
Bosom. What one of them was like bosom or something.
yeah, and then one of them was like screwing or like he's screwing us out of money kind of stuff. I forgot which word it was, but yeah, it was basically like Scrooge.
Yeah, and
And the librarian that helped him write it is like having a panic attack because
yeah,
he told him I helped him write this, and he's like, see, this is why mindless cramming is just completely nonsense.
or the hypocritical guest who was just laughing the entire time, and then the
Yeah,
first time he gets the slightest insult, he's like, "Oh, this is the type of school you've got." Jesus, I just spit.
yeah, I saw that.
Subscribe, follow the Patreon to see me. I literally, God,
And watch me try and find this piece of popcorn out of my upper lip and without sticking my finger in my mouth.
I
Oh,
didn't even notice.
yeah. I've been trying to find it.
uh,
Professional.
if you use a toe, that technically is within the rules. Did you find it
Yeah.
immediately?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I've once had, actually a couple other times, but I've had a the hard part of a kernel stuck in my
Oh,
gums to a point where I could not excise it, and I just had to feel it for days until my saliva slowly broke it down.
that would be so terrible. I would be so annoyed. I couldn't do it. I mean, I would be doing everything.
Yeah. I'm the people's hero for going
Yeah.
through that horrible, traumatic situation.
And then also
such a
having
dick.
having the librarian or whatever that helped him with the speech go behind that like little poster or whatever and then faint at the end of the speech.
um,
So let's go back to All Is Well.
I
So
was
that's come
just gonna prompt you to go back.
yeah. So that's I don't know if that was like the major because from my understanding, and I could be wrong,
You're wrong.
Indian move. Okay, fantastic. I
We're
love it.
all wrong. So I'm just kidding.
Indian movies use their songs that they use in the movies as promotional pieces.
Yeah,
So
they
I would assume that All As Well as like the song that was promoted.
yeah, there's a lot of I've gotten a lot of recommendations of either reacting to speeches like the silencer speech or scenes or to songs. So let's see. All is well, Three Idiots. Sometimes it's a fan upload. So let's see. No, the first one is Z Music Company, and the other one's Music World, so that's probably a fan one. But yeah, so it's basically like was it Vivo Music? Is that here? Yeah.
I have no idea.
All right, so yeah, they use their
Oh, you're talking.
movies
I know
and
what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah.
VENO or whatever.
Uh okay. But basically how musicians here use music videos to promote their music and get people to listen to it more. Yeah. Movies in India will also do that, which I think is smart. But I think actually I'm kind of curious to see if La La Land did that. La La Land song. No, it's all screenshots with lyrics, except for like fan uploads.
Yes, I mean, so that song first off was it's pretty good. I mean, it's very upbeat. It's kind of catchy.
Got a lot of
Um,
soap suds in their
yeah,
hair.
and then fire hose and finally figures out how to make his drone fly back in 2009, which is pretty cool.
Oh, oh. I'm
Yeah,
just remembering the end of all as
yep,
well.
that's where I'm getting to. Because you have that happy-go-lucky song, and then he flies the drone over and sees the guy that threw away the drone hanging. Like,
Which is always a great idea to do, where it like sets up the possibility for, a negative, and then brings our emotions up, and then
and
tanks
then
it.
yeah, like jumping
um
off a cliff.
yeah, have you seen Kingsman 2?
No,
Well, I'm gonna
I
spoil
I,
one of the best moments.
I want to see all three of them, just because you talk about it so much.
Have you never seen any of them?
No, no, I
Ooh.
just seen the trailer for the newest one with Rasputin.
We got to figure out a way to monetize this. I'm just kidding. This experience. All right, but so there's this moment in the second one in some movie, which I won't say, so that you don't know when you might be spoiled for it. No, it's in Kingsman 2. There's a moment where the main character has these spy glasses on, and a friend is dog sitting at his house. He's not actually doing spy stuff, but the friend finds a lighter, which is a grenade. Wait, my external monitor went black and then came back for some reason. Anyway, the friend puts on matching spy glasses. It links up like a Zoom call, and he sees the perspective, and then he sees his friend open up a lighter because he's gonna like smoke some weed or something. But it's a spy. It's a lighter themed bomb, and because he's a spy, he's a James Bond-esque spy. So we get this moment where where the main character is having dinner with the love of his life's parents for the first time, and he starts freaking out because he knows his friend's gonna blow up if he doesn't close the lighter. So he's like, shut it, fucking shut it. But everyone thinks he's just yelling at the father. So you're having this moment like, oh shit, he's fucking up the dinner part. And then oh shit, his friend's about to die. Fuck, 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 fuck. And then right at the last second, he closes the lighter, and you're like, whew. And then the main character comes back to the dinner party. He's like, oh shit. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. And you're like, oh, well, he saved his friend's life, but what's going to happen in this dinner party? And then all of a sudden, a missile comes in and blows up the spy's house. So his friend dies, his dog dies. You're completely distracted thinking, one, all right, so why it relates to this is because it did almost exactly the same thing, but compressed, where it brought all this tension, like, shit, he's gonna die, oh, he's fucking up the dinner, oh, thank God. Releases all the tension. You're like, oh, this is gonna be an awkward dinner now to explain, and then boom, he dies anyway. So
Yeah,
maybe I just use that as an excuse to talk about one of my favorite moments from Kingsman 2.
probably.
But it did
Anyway,
kind of the same thing.
yeah, but this brings you up on like a happy high and then drops you off the ledge.
Mhm.
So I like it when they do that, because you're coming off this like happy, 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 and then boom, like something happens, just like your whole world changes. So I like when movies
All
do that.
is not well.
Yeah, there's a couple other movies, drawing blank on them, but I know there's a couple other movies that do this too, where they bring you on like a really emotional high, 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 and then like the absolute worst thing can happen. I know there's other movies that do that, but I really like that trope.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any movies that do that come off the. I mean, Tag
Oh my god.
at the wedding. No, it doesn't. It doesn't do
Break
it like this movie
break
does.
break your own
I'll say
kneecaps. So I don't have
say
to help you.
nothing. What?
Break your own kneecaps. So I don't have to help you.
Is that a reference to Tag? Because I
No,
don't remember. Okay.
no.
I'm kind of scared because I don't know what this means.
Bust your kneecaps. Keep talking about Tag like that.
Why?
Because it's a terrible movie.
I thought I'd be the negative one on this podcast. Did you rewatch it with Bethany and she said, fuck this movie?
No, no. I wouldn't put her through that torture.
What? I was looking forward to you watching it with her, seeing if she cried.
I'd rather watch Gone Girl and potentially go missing.
Ooh, well, that escalated quickly. um,
Get reversed. Get reversed Gone Girl.
are you gonna gone your girl?
No, she's gonna plot my murder and I'm gonna somehow disappear.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just scared of what news I'm gonna hear in the next couple of weeks. So confused. So weird. I feel like I have nothing. Like I keep running out of things to say, and then every little detail we mention, boom, there's a whole bunch more stuff to
Yeah.
say. Because I'm gonna give you the torch. Where do you want this review to go? I'm gonna let you lead.
I like how Rancho was, and we talked about this a little bit. I don't really consider him wrong at any point.
Mhm.
He does things maybe wrong, but he does it for the right reasons or gets the right reaction out of it.
Like pretending to be Rancho.
Yeah, that the teaching each one of his friends what they're doing is kind of not necessarily wrong, but you're doing it to hide things. The one guy with all the religious rings, you're scared. You're so scared of what's going to happen tomorrow. Then the other one was, what his dad thought. He was so scared of what his dad thought. That's why he was being stuck in that school instead of being a photographer and never mailing out that letter to that famous photographer. Proving to silencer that mindless cramming is just worthless. And that thing, or the teacher day speech or whatever. Proving to Paya that marrying that guy was a dumb idea.
Oh,
twice. Pia twice.
3 times actually. Well, no, he didn't do it the third time. That was his friends.
Yeah.
But by extension, it was him because he taught his friends good.
No, he just showed him how to use mint sauce appropriately.
Can we talk about Raj's what was the word that the dean or the head of the school used? Rusticated? His rustication?
Oh, you're talking about the 2 words that Rancho made up.
Oh no. Although I do like that. That was a great moment of teaching. When the head of the school brought him in and said that he would be rusticated, essentially expelled.
Oh, okay.
If he didn't give up his friends.
Yeah, didn't give up Rancho because he really, really wanted Rancho's head instead.
And well, one, I really like how it was filmed, where we saw the fan get pulled off.
And yeah, and then everybody looks out the window.
But yeah, essentially, can we talk about Raj's suicide attempt, his recovery, and then his interview?
Yeah, that's a really good arc.
How'd that hit you on a first watch? Those 3 things.
It was surprising, but not surprising at the same time, just because the theme of this movie kind of seems to head that way. I was wondering how he was going to get himself out of that situation, and I was kind of picturing myself in his shoes, trying to think of like, well, I've got 7.5 minutes for this guy's nap to decide nap/shave to decide if I'm going to give up myself or give up one of my best friends. And I was like, man, how are you going to get yourself out of the situation without being able to talk to Rancho to like, hey, this is what's going on. What do you think? And then to see him just like walk away, I'm like, wait, where's he going? And I was like, oh no, because they frame it So there's the open window, a cord on the ground. He's walking towards it, and then jumps. So I mean, it wasn't surprising, but it's just surprising at the same time. It
Yeah.
wasn't surprising because we've already seen
Others do it.
others do it, and then kind of a mention of his son, the main professor's son, jumping off a train or something like that.
Yeah,
So
that's a huge reveal later on too, right?
yeah,
When was that? Well, I forget when, in what order. Yeah, I forget what was bordering that scene when Pia finally tells him. But yeah,
well, because and one of the things that's kind of a little bit messy about this movie is this movie all takes place over the course of 12 to 16 hours because the guy's going to get on a flight, and then in the same day they make their all the way to Pia.
does it only take 12 hours?
12 to it's one day,
Okay.
and it's sunny when he gets, so it probably couldn't have been more than 14 hours because it was sunny when he gets off the plane, the sun was rising, and then when they get to the lake or whatever, it's still sunny. The only reference of really time is I think when they were going to make that U-turn to go get Pia, it was a 6 hour turnaround.
Oh. um yeah, I don't know, for some reason I thought it was a few days, but that may have
Well, no, because
been just how many times it's
he
been
even
cut
says
away.
at the yeah, he even says at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I got off a plane this morning for this,
Oh. Fair
because
enough.
he fakes having a medical emergency.
um ha,
but okay, so going back to what we're talking about, the recovery portion when everybody's trying to like perk him up, and every time they say all is well and this thing jumps. um and he was like joking with like, oh, he's gonna marry your sister and doesn't require a dowry. Do you know who it is? And it was like, he's a wonderful photographer. He likes animal photos. Blah, blah. He's like, nope, nope, nope. And
and
he's
what
like,
is it, one of the first things he says, like,
yeah, he wakes up. He's like,
stop
you guys need to stop.
lying?
Yeah, stop lying or stop messing with me or whatever. Because they say his dad's good. His mom bought a $2,000 or 2,000 rupee scarf or something like that.
Yeah, it was I forget the proper name for it, but a sati or something like that. It
Sativa.
it it has been a few weeks since I've watched it, but yeah, they had set that up previously, saying she hadn't bought a new one in like years. Um, yeah, seeing the mom after she had that and him not wake up and her break,
Yeah,
that was a hard part.
yeah. I wonder, and I wish they could have expanded on this a little bit more. If she was given the money to go get it, or somebody gifted her the item,
Hmm.
I would have to assume, since the professor was joking, they only make 2,500 rupees a week or whatever on salary, which is, I guess, is like pennies, the way it sounds. Um, but yeah, I wonder if she was given it or if she actually spent the money. Because I mean, it'd be more heartbreaking if she spent the money on it, knowing she doesn't have any to not wake your son up for that.
I'd be I I guess normally I'd want it to be more heartbreaking just for the
Yes.
emotional element. However, I'd be willing to bet that it was a rancho.
Yeah. I mean, he proves throughout the movie that he has money.
He has to have money somewhere, you
Yeah.
know. Like
Well,
he's probably getting paid a handsome little per
stipend.
diem.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, from Daddy Warbucks. He's the little orphan Annie.
Yeah, basically.
Literally,
Quite
almost.
really smart, solving 10th grade equations at 6th grade level, or during
Yeah,
6th grade.
it's Goodwill Annie. The
No, no, it's
sun
not.
will come out. All is well. Bet your bottom rupee. All is well. Copyright. Sing a little
Uh
more to say it's parody. Don't sue me. I was Rooster when I was in my first play.
Well, we're not
I,
getting this monetized. That's good. Good start. Good start.
I was Rooster and Annie when I was in like sixth grade, and my my girlfriend was like an eighth grader, or I must have been in fifth grade, eighth grader, and then my sister in the play was like a 34-year-old woman. And that was my first role, and I got a big ego because the next one they were like, no one but seventh and eighth graders get speaking lines. You'll be a monkey, and I'm like, I'm too good for this. Then my
And
next one,
here we are.
and then my next one, I decided to be an extra in the Music Man to humble myself. It's a real roller coaster.
Oh man.
um,
But
what?
then all of it turns out well when he, finally decides, it is what it is.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you think he was throwing away that opportunity in the interview when he said when he
I don't
turned down the
I don't
offer?
think he was throwing it away as much as he was
Or
being real to himself, I guess.
yeah, let me
He
put it
he
this way.
I wouldn't
Did
say he was throwing it away. He was being himself.
did you think he was losing the job because he was sticking to his new principles?
I assumed that he was, but the way that the movies turn out and the common tropes of movies with, you know, being so real. What are you laughing about?
I just really appreciate you gotta go back when I put this on the Discord. When you talked about the twist, your like cheeks got a little more red, and they're like perfect cartoon happy smile. Like just the cheeks. I was like, this is perfect. This
Oh
is
man.
so wholesome. Like you were like, but when it go I'm just
Yeah. I mean,
seemed like you were cartoon happy for a second.
I hate this movie. I'm just cartoon happy.
He's talking about tag.
Yeah, tag. No, it's just one of those tropes that in movies that like when somebody's so brutally honest that it works out for him.
Hmm.
Um, that I assumed yeah, he's probably going to throw away this chance, but he's going to chase down what he really wants to do. And I was thinking about, I was like, well, what does he really want to do? We haven't really found out. He's not a photographer. He didn't, you know, he didn't. They didn't give us what he wanted to do besides being an engineer. Um,
I
so then,
actually likes that it's only three people, but a majority actually wanted the career that they went to school for. You
well,
know?
two out of the three.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a small majority, but I do like that. It could have been that he had another dream as well that
That he was
wasn't
being
right.
forced. Yeah.
Yeah, but he actually wanted to be there, and he was failing. Like he was last in the class or second to last, and
Yeah, it was between him and Raj. But,
yeah, I just thought that added a good texture.
and what's his and Rancho wanted to be an engineer, wanted to be a scientist because he enjoyed it. I mean, he shows you that throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, he could have been a doctor too. Threw it away. Birthing babies with a vacuum cleaner. I can build that.
I can build a baby. That's what you meant, right?
Yep.
Uh, oh, there was something else I was thinking of, but I can't. Oh, all of Silencer's dirty tactics to try to be better. Like putting porn underneath everyone's
Yeah. So that way everybody's
rooms.
distracted. Yeah, they're distracted the night before, so it makes them
Yeah,
look better.
that felt too real. Like someone was that insecure and obsessed with being the best that they believed the only way to be the best is to make everyone else worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was gonna do his philosophy was do the best he could and then make everybody else look bad.
Essentially, he thought a rising tide sinks everyone else's ship. All I need to do is provide the hole in the hull.
With a magazine.
Yeah, very sharp magazine. Mm.
Yeah, I mean, he's a character that I
is a
understand.
douchebag.
Yeah, he's a douchebag, but he's not really. He's not really, really necessary to everything. He's kind of like the. If you had to cut a character out of this movie, I think it would be him easy. I think he serves less of a purpose than Millimeter.
Well, if we're just getting down to technicalities, without him, they never would have found Rancho.
Mm,
But
I
he
yeah.
could,
You could have easily done that any other way.
touche. Uh,
I mean, they could have got a random like friend saying, "Oh, did you hear P is getting married?" And then
I
start
like
down this trip.
I like his function in the story the same way I like Batman villains. There's some smarter people than me who have outlined that every Batman villain is a mirror reflection to one facet of Bruce Wayne's personality. And
Okay,
I feel like
I
he's
want to
kind of,
hear your Mister Freeze. I'm excited for that.
I promise it'll be very ice. uh, and Silencer seems to be the inverse of that. He reflects the darker path that each character could have gone on. Like,
And he's that darker path.
yeah, like Rancho easily could have been focused on the money only and followed it that way and always is trying to, use his patent or ring all his patents for all their worth financially. Um, Raju, instead of praying, it's still flawed, but instead of praying, he would have been trying to sabotage others when he's in that interview and he has the opportunity to, you know, give up his morals in exchange for the job. If he had done that, which Silencer definitely would have, he actually would have lost the job. Um, Farhan, I doubt Farhan's making the same money Silencer is, but he's
Well,
actually
he's not, and they because he says, I'm a multimillionaire. You're just a photographer. In the beginning of the movie, which is September 5th or whatever.
but he's truly happy. If they
Because
said that Silencer didn't love his wife, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, okay, yeah, he definitely just found the most attractive person and did anything he could to wed her. Wed, WED. I'm not being dirty. Um, you know, because everything is a prize for him. Every facet of his life is a corner where he could say, I'm first place in that facet. And he definitely, if we're taking this to the extreme, he's reminding me of what a young Viru must have been like. What was the dean's nickname? I know he had a nickname.
Virus.
Virus. Okay.
Because
So
his Veru was Virus.
yeah. So he definitely reminds me of a young Virus. Um, so
Well,
I think
they kind of talk about that throughout the movie, I guess. Where if you're not first, you're last, basically, Ricky Bobby, where everything's a race and if you've got to be the first one to get there. And they even joke about it in the beginning of the movie when they're talking about being one of 300 million sperm. You were the first one out of 300 million sperm to get there. And he said you're always racing to be number one since before you were born.
Yeah, something I've heard Kevin Smith say a lot of times. But I really think we wouldn't appreciate the good in the other characters nearly as much if we didn't have Silencer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying if we were going to cut a person out, we could cut him out. I'm not saying his character is irrelevant. I'm just saying if we want to cut down a half hour time, just saying he's up there.
Ooh, I don't like those type of executives.
Hey.
The whole trip to find Rancho would have just been like, are you enjoying the scenery? I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Never
guess.
would have found Pia, I don't think. Or I don't remember how they realized she had a wedding. Um,
Um,
I'm gonna actually say that I think Silencer is the most important character.
Most important character out of the first three, outside of the first
I
three
was,
and Pia.
I don't know. I
So
think
he's in
I
the top
wouldn't.
five.
He's definitely in the top five, but if I don't want to cut her, but if I had to cut one of those five, I would cut Pia because
Yeah,
the most important thing I think that she does, well, two things: help deliver her sister's baby and tell Virus that um their brother killed themselves.
which makes him realize what he's done with his life. And then when the new baby comes out, says, "You can be anything you want. You want to be a footballer, you can be a footballer."
Yeah, but he could have learned that elsewhere.
Yeah,
He could have learned that information. Ugh, I don't
and
like.
having the twist, you'd lose one twist of her being his daughter. So
Yeah,
then they wouldn't get a key to his office.
but I would
Oh,
hate to.
I thought that was hilarious
Which part? Oh, the
when he said the
test.
no, yeah, the test, but when he said when he's making the vacuum cleaner, he's like, "I need a vacuum cleaner." He's like, "There's one in my office," and then they both throw his office key to Farhan to go get it,
That
and he
was
looks at him like,
great.
"Oh my, like you motherfucker."
But if you are looking for half an hour, just purely any half an hour, by losing Pia, you lose the wedding that they crash. Well, no, not necessarily, but you lose the money obsessed douchebag who's not Silencer,
Yeah,
um, and then all that mint shenanigans of getting her out of the wedding. Although I think it's a great emotional moment where she's kind of panicking, like any second now they're going to find out that you are not actually the husband, and my only opportunity to leave is gone. Um, I would hate to lose that, but yeah, if you're being a I don't want to mention his name, but the guy who Larvey Blindstein. I forget what movie, but there was some amazing movie, something like Parasite tier level excellence, where he wanted to cut out like half an hour, and they were like, "Fuck you." So he's like, "Okay, you're not getting a great theatrical release experience, but I'll release it the way you want it." And
and Parasite's another movie, another foreign language movie.
mhm,
It's on my list of top 100 movies I got to watch. I own a copy of it.
that is a great movie.
Have not seen it. Have
I'm
not seen it.
That's a movie I'm glad will probably never be on here because it was so appreciated.
It did win a lot of awards.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine if we ended up reviewing it one day, but I
Under
consider Parasite nearly as successful as like Squid Game in terms of pop culture, because there were a lot of people I met who watched Parasite, and I talked to a lot of people in Uber and Lyft, and you don't usually get, oh yeah, that very uh I was gonna say niche, but it's not niche because it blew up. But that little drama that could from South Korea.
drama comedy, I think. I haven't seen it, but I think isn't there comedy aspects of that movie too?
Parasite.
Yeah,
Mm, if it's definitely not.
one of the main.
Yeah, no. Like
Okay.
how rom com is romance and comedy. It's definitely not a dramedy. No, no, sir. I'm sure there are some funny parts where you're like, that's, you'll chuckle and shit, but there's no, no, no. Have you ever seen um,
So,
Stranger Than Fiction?
yes, I believe so.
That's closer to a dramedy than Parasite is. Because, I mean, it's mainly a drama, but you also get moments of Will Ferrell just screaming at the sky and be like, "Who's that voice in my head?"
Oh yes, yes, I have seen that movie. Okay, I looked it up. I've seen it.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
wouldn't necessarily call I'd call Stranger Than Fiction big drama, small comedy, and Parasite is not even that.
You know, it took me almost till the end of the movie to realize that this was more of a rom-com than anything.
This one,
Yeah.
it's very it takes a lot of tonal elements and mixes them well.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
it's not really until the end where, like, yes, he has a crush on her, but it's not a big part of the movie until the end.
but I love how his dream comes true, except for
Yeah.
getting slapped in the face. I don't know. I also really love the filming. Like, all right. Oh, you said you had the budget, and we haven't mentioned that yet because this actually
Yes.
ties into my next point. What's the budget in US dollars, please?
What do you on a movie like this, where do you think it would be? I mean, I'll give
100
you the
million.
I'll
100
give you the
million.
rupees. I'll give you the rupees just in case you need it.
No, give me the USD. I'm
USD,
saying 100 million
not even
up to.
close.
Oh,
Not even close.
well, then I'm very impressed because the crane shots and the epicness of the scale, I would never expect a US version of this film. Or let me put this way. There is Three Idiotas, in a Spanish language, I assume, adaptation of this. So if it was adapted into English, I'd assume it would get a bigger budget because they know it's a proven property. But
Mhm.
if the first version of this movie was made in the US, I'd say Little Miss Sunshine would be like the height of the filming techniques for
I
this type
I
of
I
story.
I think in the United States that there's a lot of inflated budgets, on that too, with, permitting and stuff like that, where I think these guys were in other countries, you can kind of get away from stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, so I think there's some inflation. And if you were to take some unknown actors, how much was Tag? 5 million. One
I forget.
one of them was only 5 million, but this movie is 550 million rupees, which is 7.3 million dollars.
Jesus Christ. I was doing the math while we were talking about it, and I got it just Jesus Christ. Amir Khan's probably has some points on the back end because I mean 2009. I don't know where his career was. Let me look at this. I'm going to do this. Google Trends.
Ooh.
I'm going to use that to search up Amir Khan and see how he was trending in Amir Khan, Indian actor, search over the past 2004 to present is all it's given me. So in
Ooh, he's from
2000,
he's from Bombay, age 56.
no, he was.
Actor, director, producer, writer, singer, talk show host. Oh man.
Oh wait, it's showing it in the U.S. I went worldwide. Okay, so in 2008, January 2009 was right after a spike in December 2008, but it's steadily on the rise. So as far as worldwide Amir Khan Indian actor in Google Trends, it is at a 41 in January 2009, and the highest it ever got in search traffic was 100. Was okay. So at this point in January of 2009, what month did this release?
December 25th, 2009.
Okay, December. So let's see. Yeah, compared to his all-time rank, and I'm gonna do November because December would be unfair. Um, he was at 22% of his highest in terms of search terms, but I don't know what that means in actual numbers. It's only showing percentage. Anyway, all to say he was definitely not at the height of his career, so I could see him being paid less.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of things in America that we have to pay tax and pay tolls on, to do stuff like this. Renting out places. I think once you start saying like the two words wedding or a movie, I think everything's rent prices skyrocket. And then the permitting that everybody requires and stuff like that to film. So I think there's a lot of like inflatedness into some of these budgets that they have to have a bigger budget because they know they're going to have to pay XYZ to be able to even film this movie before you start paying anybody else, just to be there basically.
That makes sense.
Like if you wanted to rent out a restaurant, you're talking $100,000 a day, versus if you just wanted to go rent out a restaurant for a family get together, you're talking $2,000 and you can have the entire restaurant.
I'll also say I just found this article from October 30th, 2018, that whose title says Amir Khan explains why he takes a share of profits instead of fee for a film.
And doesn't he kind of explains that in the movie too? Was it
When he's
well,
talking about all his patents?
no, maybe it might have been something else I was watching, because they were talking about it was a YouTube video I was watching. Never mind.
Okay.
It was about a movie, or it was something about taking all the risk. That it's easier for somebody to say, I'll give you a certain percentage if this succeeds, because you take all the risk, versus me paying you up front and you take all the risk paying them, and if it flops, it flops.
Yeah. Same reason they say in Hollywood, never finance your own project. Get someone else to finance it for you.
It's someone else's money. So we talked about how much this movie budgeted was.
Yeah, Jesus
Do,
Christ.
do you know how much this movie made? Do you have a guess?
In US dollars, over 100 million.
Not quite.
I hate you.
Yeah, not quite.
No. How much?
$61.2 million, or 4.6 billion rupees.
Ah, geez, those numbers.
I'm glad we live in a country where our numbers aren't crazy. We're talking like $100 to get a soda, and it's just $1, like in Japan. Because Japan, I think, is like, was it $1 is 100 to 110 yen.
See, if our prices ever got crazy, I would just introduce a new currency like the UK did, but just call it the new USD. So like every $10 bill equals $1 in new USD or NUSD.
And
NUSD. Just so everything could be a little more relaxed.
yeah, relaxed but not relaxed.
Man, I
'Cause
mean,
now it's worth more.
instead of
But
saying this bottle of water costs $10, you could be like, this bottle of water costs $1 new.
yeah,
Then everything feels normal again. Actually, that's probably a plot that the evil overlords running the behind the scenes have already thought of.
yep, it's part of the new Idris Elba James Bond line. So what?
Why are the new US dollars called Britishes? I'll take 2 Britishes, please, for this cupcake. There was a better version of that joke.
I don't know where we're going with that.
I left it out to die.
Okay, we'll let it die, because I don't know where you're going with that. I'm not pushing.
Because you said Idris Elba, which is a British franchise, so if it's part of the
Oh,
British order, then
he's
it would
he's
be
he's
them trying to reclaim the US by sneakies.
so he's a British franchise now.
I mean, Bond is a British franchise.
Oh, Idris Elba is not a British franchise. That's why I was like really confused. It's like, wait, he's a franchise now?
I thought you were referencing my Idris Elba Bond
Yeah,
trilogy.
I did.
Okay.
I was just confused.
The better version of that joke would be one queen. Every dollar is a queen.
Ah, okay, that makes more sense. Soon to be king.
I was trying to figure out a way to use the cents joke and make it CENTS. Like 0.1. You mean 0.1 queen? Yeah. My dad jokes don't work so well in Britain.
One Bohemian Rhapsody, please.
God, that movie was god awful. I can't believe it won for editing. It has worse editing than that Taken 3 shot that I told you about.
I just can't get past Taken 2. Once your daughter gets taken twice, I'm good. After that, you're just a bad parent.
Which movie was that from? Deadpool? Yeah. Deadpool.
Yeah. Yep. I think it was. You're right. I think that joke was well before that, but I think it was. I think it was made famous in Deadpool.
Oh, much like the joke in Free Guy where he goes, "No, he's just resting. He's so sleepy." That was the first time I saw that joke was in the College Humor Bad Man sketches with Pete Holmes, and he kills oh, what's his name? The guy who did the Parks and Rec filibuster. His name is, why is it not sure? Patton Oswalt. Have you ever seen that sketch with Pete Holmes as Batman and Patton Oswalt as Penguin?
Mm-mm.
So
I've seen almost all Parks and Rec, and I don't remember that.
it's not in Parks and Rec.
Oh,
That's
okay.
just how I can remember the actor's name. Go on YouTube and look it up. It's Patton Oswalt as Penguin. He has Commissioner Gordon, and then Batman comes in and he starts killing goons. It's like, holy shit, Batman! What about your one rule? It's like, I didn't kill him. Just when I fight bad guys, they get so tired that they need to take a nap immediately after. Look at that little guy. He's so sleepy. And then Penguin almost gets the drop on Batman, but Batman takes a gun and shoots him right in the middle of the head. And he's like, holy shit, Commissioner Gordon's yelling. He's like, you just killed him. He's like, no, he's just so tired. Look at him. Look at the little guy. He's so sleepy. So, yes, just like the Taken joke and made famous by Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, I think, made the no, he's not dead. He's just taking a nap. He's so sleepy. Made that joke famous in Free Guy. That's how deep my reference brain goes.
That was really deep. That was real deep.
Balls deep.
Balls deep.
I've been watching a lot of offline TV, which I know you do because of the Mamma Mia clip that I sent you. But I've been watching a lot of offline TV and Friends, and I've just stumbled across a whole line of them trying to say or dropping in D's nuts as part of their group's culture. Like there's one where a guy named Peter has his chat up and he's talking to them and they're like, hey, I've been playing a lot of Papa Bear lately. He's like, Papa Bear, you just see him search it up and it's an actual game. And he's like, I've never seen this before. And he reads the nut, pop a pair of these nuts in your mouth. He's like, you got me. Anyway, 3 idiots.
Hey, I can tie this back in. All
right, tie these nuts in. They must hang low if you can tie them.
When the professor was asking him what a machine was,
and he gave him like I was thinking about that earlier.
A very simple definition of it. Yeah. And then the other guy was like, "Oh, well, it's this, and gives him a very detailed, very long explanation.
Yeah, the textbook definition.
Yeah. And then he gets kicked out of class and he was like, oh, I forgot something. He's like, what'd you forget? And he was like, oh, an instrument that records blah, blah, blah. And you can
for future knowledge.
And yeah. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, my book.
Like, why don't you just say that simply?
Well, I did. So
I love his teaching techniques.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool. And then to see him kind of like get everybody with, he wrote his 2 friends' names and just kind of extended out the words and stuff like that.
Were you excited to learn just now, or were you panicked or you felt anxiety rise?
Yeah, because even like the one kid runs up, grabs his book, Rancho's book off the desk that he like looked through, quote unquote, to find these 2 words. And then even
the teacher, the dean.
Yeah, it was like stealing other people's books to try and find the word. So, and then they make a device to change from car battery to like change it through and they name it after that guy.
The
The
virus
but
inverter or whatever.
yeah. So I mean, he was kind of the butt of everybody's joke. I mean, I'm glad his character arc went the way he did.
Which
And
character was the butt of everyone's
vi-
joke?
virus
Oh yeah. I was shocked to see that he still had his. I don't know if it was just a production thing, but do you think him still having his mustache shaved off at the wedding, the later wedding, was a production thing where they shaved it off for the movie and they couldn't
didn't
get
grow
enough time
back
to
or
get, or was, do you think that was a signal that like
he had changed
ranchos, yeah,
that it made a lasting change on him.
because
Um,
I'm guessing he wasn't so changed since they were back to marrying that douchebag guy,
yeah,
but he didn't have his mustache anymore.
yeah, maybe because um, the bet on him shaving off his mustache was when all of them get jobs,
Yeah.
and then as soon as the one guy got a job, he gets his mustache
He
shaved off,
almost strangles the
and then like if
guy.
you next time you watch this movie, and it's gonna be really hard to not see this when he's
Mhm.
looking at the mirror, he's almost laughing when they're talking about how ugly he is or whatever. If you look into the mirror, he's like trying to like not laugh. And then when they do the close up on the mirror, that's when he's like actually serious, like, oh, I, hate having my mustache gone. But like when they're first talking about it, he's like almost laughing into the mirror.
Thank you
I, I
for
ca-
that. I'm going to look for that.
it's
Um,
it's funny because he's like trying not to laugh. And he's trying so hard, but you can see his face clearly in the mirror.
so have you seen 22 Jump Street?
This box looks like a giant cube of ice.
There's a moment when they're recreating the scene where they're getting ready in front of the mirrors before the third act.
Mhm.
And I learned this from the commentary, but there's a shot of Jonah Hill and they're in front of mirrors. So maybe that's why I remembered it. But Channing Tatum says something, and then Jonah Hill just kind of like closes his eyes and just and opens them back up and is shaking his head a little bit. And you see the creases of his mouth start going up, and they cut away at exactly the last second before he starts cracking up. It was so hard for him to finish the scene. um, anything else we should talk about? Because yeah, like I said, I keep feeling like I've got nothing else to say, and then we mentioned one microcosm of it, and it's just a whole other conversation.
Um, I would say overall, I mean, it's a fun movie. Especially if you're interested in foreign films or interested in stuff like that, I would give it a check.
Yeah.
It's not 100% in Hindi. It is like
I don't know what
50,
languages is.
it is like 15 to 20% in English, and they use a lot of English words
Yeah,
periodically through sentences.
yeah. Bilingualism is very common in India,
I can
or
imagine.
being bilingual. So there's been plenty of films, or out of the ones I've seen, which is like 10 to 20. There's enough of them that are like half English, half something else, or a balance similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see it. I mean, with the amount of business they do with the United States and stuff like that, I can definitely see um, being bilingual, having them be bilingual, or at least use a lot of our slang and stuff like that. So
Are you mentioning the English language part of it to show people that it's more accessible than like a Parasite might be?
yes, and
Gotcha.
if you were interested in starting to see some movies from other countries, this might be a good way to kind of break yourself into it. Um, Getting used to reading subtitles, but then also being able to understand because they use, especially more towards the beginning of the movie, they use a lot more English,
Hmm.
and as the movie progresses, they use less and less English. Um, but I mean, it gets you kind of gets you that feel without having to fully immerse yourself into a foreign film that's 100% not in the language that we speak.
Yeah, I kind of wish like I get why they wouldn't, but I mean on home video, I kind of wish they would do the Squid Game thing a little more. Not 75 different languages on day one. Obviously, that would be untenable. But if you're going to have partial English anyway, it would be so easy to take the people in the film who know how to speak English and just have them do a dub once,
Yeah.
have Amir Khan come in and do a fully English dub or even a fully Hindi dub.
Yeah. I checked to see if there was, and there wasn't.
Yeah, no, there's not. I don't even think there's more than English subtitles on Netflix.
Nope. Just English.
That's so curious to me because
English. And I think there was Hindi subtitles.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I mean, this feels more similar to how Parasite and Squid Game could really connect with other people. With their stories of poverty against an uncaring elite class. I could totally see a lot of people connecting with the pressures of school, maybe in France or hell in South Korea. This might be a very welcome film there that people could connect with. I mean, I know it's not so much an issue here since there are English subtitles, but if there was an English dub, it could definitely, I know a lot. I'm sure there's a huge chunk of the US population that just avoids anything with subtitles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, I think this is a good cross.
I mean, if not everybody here could be properly educated about COVID and really stick their grounds with the fake information they found on the darkest parts of the Google search page, I'm sure some people are like, reading for 3 hours. What a chore. If they can't make a 20-minute Google search to find accurate information on COVID.
Oh man. But yeah, I would say this is a good. I would say this is a good cross. I would say this is a good entry point. It's funny. It's not hard to watch. It's entertaining. So I would say this is a good break-in point for somebody, especially if Indian films is kind of where you wanted to go, where your interest lied.
I'm curious. I would like in the next month or two for us to review Padmavat, which is definitely different. It's like it comes from a myth from India, so it's not this, but the way I would describe it to an American audience is it's kind of like Helen of Troy in India with a guy who looks like
Brad Pitt. Oh, that's crazy.
Looks like Jason Momoa in Game of Thrones. Like literally, I think there was an article that was like, yep, they stole Jason Momoa's costume for this movie.
Bollywood does it again.
It's either this movie or another movie. So I think I put that asterisk because I think Helen of Troy actually wasn't consensual love. Was Helen of Troy, was she good being with either person?
I don't remember.
Never mind. Fuck my example. It's just I'm sure there's big epic, like if you ever saw, speaking of Brad Pitt, the movie Troy and Helen of Troy, if you saw that, or any swords and sandals epics, not Gladiator, that seems a little smaller in scale.
300. Let's do it.
Kind of 300, but like having a soul.
Wow.
300 is a little soulless. The one time I perked up was when a Spartan died, because I was like, holy shit, we've just had hours of them being fine. And one died. Wow. And then half an hour later, all of them die. So I'm like,
all of them but one, the blind one.
I will say, Michael Fassbender made the most out of that role. Did you remember he was in that movie?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You did a good job. But yeah, I my point being, I'd wonder if a more intimate character focused story like this, or a bigger epic would translate more with an audience if it's foreign language. Because
Uh,
here we love Marvel, you know?
yeah.
It seems as we go along, the videos on YouTube that break down everything that's wrong with a Marvel movie,
Or every Easter egg in the background ever.
that too. But like a Mauler or Every Frame a Pause, like they'll do 10 to 12-hour live streams breaking down everything that's wrong or logically inconsistent in a Marvel movie. I recommend the Black Widow one. And more importantly, I think they're majoritively right with their points, all meaning that as the Marvel movies seem to get a little progressively more flawed, the box offices go
Oh,
higher. Yeah. So I and
and
obviously we're not going to see Little Miss Sunshine in theaters anymore.
and that's crazy considering they are really trying to shoehorn in a lot of things.
Yeah. And I still like the Marvel movies, but I agree with the goals of like Every Frame of Pause, which is if we keep getting movies like this that are being lazy because it's not affecting box office, then we will only get worse and worse movies. Anyway, basically, I'm curious if a foreign film hits better if it's boom boom bang bang rather than this is my life calling
Well,
and I can cry.
I think it's an easy watch.
Hmm.
I don't think it's overly complex. I think everything's pretty straightforward. As it's presented, not necessarily storyline, but as it's presented, it's pretty well straightforward. I don't think you're gonna get tripped up on a whole lot of things. I don't think you're gonna be like, oh, wait, are you telling me that I've been watching this movie for 2.5 hours and I just now figured out that the daughter is actually the
An
daughter,
alien.
yeah, the daughter to the main bad guy, the main antagonist of the movie. How did I miss that? I just think it's easy to watch. It's partly in English, straightforward. It deals with a lot of things that we kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Mhm.
Um, not so many moving parts, not so fast paced. So I would rather have somebody get into a movie like this
Mhm.
than boom boom bang bang, like Transformers if it wasn't in English.
Oh fuck no, no. Padmavad is not trans. I'm curious to see if you still agree with what you just said once you've seen Padmavad. Because let's see, it would kind of to think of old movies. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a really good action film. I guess it would be the difference between, since we were talking about Ryan Reynolds, the difference between watching The Proposal and watching Deadpool. You know what I mean? Obviously,
Right.
more people watch Deadpool, but I'm curious if, in terms of foreign films, the same is true, where it could connect with a bigger audience. If
I think having something more relatable would connect broader than having something that's funny, but at the same time, like it has to do with a lot with our slang and our the way we think of things over here that may not translate very well to a country that, you know, maybe is ruled by a dictator.
yeah,
Where having a love interest is a little bit more relatable because it's more real worldy than having superhuman that has his arm chopped off and regrows it.
on that note,
Maybe hands.
yeah, this was this feel like we should cut it out because I've or cut no, not cut it out. End the episode because I'm saying things that I could probably say with 5 words with 50 words. So
Eh,
to end people's suffering, that was Three Idiots. Would you ever watch this again? Because it got, in my eyes, it got a bad rating with you.
I would probably watch it again if my wife listened to this and said, "You know what? Let's watch it." I would say, "Okay, let's do it."
When
but
does
I'm
she
but I'm
listen to the spoiler reviews before watching the spoiler part before watching something with you?
I'm not sure. I have to ask.
Okay. I hope she doesn't listen to this spoiler part if she decides to watch it.
Yeah, but if someone were to say, "Hey, let's sit down and watch this," I'd watch it again. I'm probably not going to pick it. If
Mm.
I'm sitting at home, like, oh man, what should I watch? Probably won't pick this movie. But if somebody said, hey, let's watch this, I'd say, okay, let's do it. I'm good with it.
Nice. All right. Well, what was our outro again? The new one? That was Three Idiots. For me, it was an edibly mushroom,
And for me, it was a joint that was slightly skunky.
but ultimately, it was pretty dope.
Because movies are dope.
I'm I'm Brian at Movies Are Dope,
I'm Brad at Brad F912.
and bye bye. I don't know what I'm referencing, but I'm referencing something. Bye. Maybe Yvonne from Offline TV. Bye bye. And shit, I wasn't ready to stop recording. I'm gonna leave this in because it's stupid.
Wah, wah, wah.